I also forgot it was Pentecost, we didn't realise. But the Holy Spirit definitely does get mentioned in my sermon this morning. So yesterday was a very rainy day, and that's not very good when it's one of the first Saturdays in June. For everyone else, you've got to stay indoors and there's not much you can do. But it was perfect for me because it meant I wasn't bothered about being sat inside reading my Bible, so that was good. And I was meant to preach a few weeks ago, but of course the amazing Marilyn Harry came up. So when Graham and Angie asked if I would like to step outside to preach so she could preach, I had absolutely no issue. Because she's a mighty woman of God with an amazing message. And it only seemed right to honour a guest. And I'm such a fan of procrastination and avoiding things that it absolutely suited me just fine. But then Graham asked if I could do this weekend, and this time I had no excuse, and no one to swoop in and move for me, so here I am. So a few weekends ago we celebrated Heather's birthday, and my preach was going to be all about lifting up our leaders in thanksgiving. I had a plan to preach on 1 Thessalonians 5 about honouring the leaders who have given the responsibility of urging them and guiding us along, and overwhelming them with appreciation and love. But I felt appreciation and love, so no more. We're moving on. We have moved on. And so I'm going to speak about something different. So last weekend I was at a conference called Cherish, and it's run by a church in Bradford called Life Church. And a few women that we know were there. Pam Kershaw was there. Karen and her daughter Holly attended. Kanaya and Sarah were there. Another Sarah and Heather and Angie and I also went. And it was just really powerful and amazing to see women speaking the truth of God. And it got me thinking about words and about speaking. And so this morning I'm going to talk about the power of words and the power of the spoken word and what it means for us today. Because God speaks, doesn't he? In many different ways. And we speak too. We've got a voice. God has given us a voice. And most of us have a voice, but if we don't have a voice, we may have another way of expressing ourselves. And some people's voice is louder than others, and some voices carry a lot of influence in our society and in our culture. Every time I take a picture, and I'm always on my mouth open, and it's on Facebook, so. There's always a terrible Facebook post when we're preaching, so I'm not having it. Oh, okay, thank you. So like I said, some voices carry a lot of influence, but other people are not listened to. They're marginalised in our society, can sometimes have their voice drowned out. But it says in the Bible, in those circumstances, we are called to be a voice to the voiceless. So we have words, we have language, we have noises, we have music, we have singing, and we have tongues. We all express ourselves, don't we? And this can be done in so many ways, through music, through art, in affection, in body language and tone. But the main way I would say we express ourselves is verbal, it's through our speech, it's talking to one another all the time. So whenever God provides me with a topic, I look at the Bible and I look to see if there are any examples of this theme and this message. And God pointed me straight to Genesis, right at the beginning. Because as Julie Andrews taught us in The Sound of Music, it's a very good place to start. So it says in Genesis, doesn't it, that God spoke the world into being. The whole universe, the stars, the planets, the moon, the entire solar system. And it doesn't say he moulded, it doesn't say he used his hands, it said he spoke. So in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth through his voice. In Genesis 1 it says, "Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters." How poetic is that? How still. Complete emptiness and nothingness, a complete abyss. But in that abyss there was an aching, there was a stirring, there was a yearning, a period of expectation, that hovering, that getting ready, that something is about to happen, and oh, did it happen. It says in verse 3, doesn't it, that God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God said, he spoke, and there was light. Wonderful, glorious light. Before that there was nothing, just desolation, just emptiness. Then suddenly, out of what appeared to be nothing, there was light. And he brought it all forth just through the word. God spoke the world into being. His voice alone caused the beginning of life itself. He made the entire creation happen with a word. How incredible. It makes me need to lie down, I think, sometimes, when actually process what God did for us. God had a plan and he brought it about. He kick-started it and he called it forth from just a word. Can you imagine if we saw the same thing in our own lives? That God with a word alone can change our situation completely. He can transform us and change our situation with just a phrase, just a word. That he can speak one word and we can be made new. That he can bring about a new thing and a new season. He just needs to call it into being. Because it says in Genesis 4 that God saw that the light was good and he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day and the darkness he called night. And there was evening and there was morning the first day. So after God spoke it, he named it. He called the light day and the darkness night. He created time. There was an evening and there was a morning. He separated it and labelled it. He called it what he was and he chose it. And God does the same to us. He names us. He chooses us. We are called his. We belong to him. We are called and named children of God, co-heirs of Christ, children of the elect, special people, little children, children of the promise, servants of Christ, salt of the earth, masterpiece, God's handiwork, his treasured possession, sons and daughters, and his beloved. So when God creates something, he names it, he calls it by name. And God didn't just stop there. After he spoke into being the heavens and the earth, he spoke into being the sky. And before that there was just water. But he said, let there be a vault between the waters to separate water from water. And so it was, it happened with a sentence again. And that's how powerful a sentence from God's lips is. And God said a new thing each day. He said, let the water under the sky be gathered to one place, and let dry ground appear. And it was so. He said, let the land produce vegetation, and it was so. He said, let there be a sun and a moon and the stars, and it was so. He said, let there be creatures of the sky and creatures of the sea, and it was so. And he said, let the land have living creatures, and it was so. And he said, let us make mankind in God's image and in his likeness, and it was so. God speaks creation into being with his voice, with words, and what he calls to happen, happens. So when God says there's going to be revival, there will be revival. When God says let there be healing, there will be healing. When God says let there be salvation, there will be salvation. And when God says let faith arise, then faith will arise. And when God says Halifax Central Church is going to be part of a movement that brings faith and hope and freedom, it will happen and there will be breakthrough. Because if God says it, it is so. So we need to be seeking the will of God and hearing about what he wants us to do through us. Because it says in the Bible that God is the same today, yesterday and forever. So the same God that created the heaven and the earth with his voice is the same God that can transform our lives today. God is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, and he still does the same today as what he did thousands of years ago. He still speaks. He has never stopped speaking to his people, and he still speaks to us today. So what do we need to do? What do we need to do to listen to God and listen when he speaks? Well, firstly, we've got to open our ears. All the time I'm going to my parents' house, and Mum will say to me all the time, hey mate, are you deaf or just ignorant? Because she thinks that I'm ignoring her. So I'll be sat in the living room, watching the telly, reading a book on my phone, and my mum will try to have a conversation with me. And I'll kind of be half listening, I'll be nodding along, nodding my head, going, oh yeah, that's great, yeah, awesome, yeah. Nod and a smile, gets me through a lot of conversations. But then she'll turn around and she'll say, did you hear me? Nancy's not passed her exam, it's, she's going to have to resit it, it's going to cost a lot of money. And I'm like, oh no, that's really terrible, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to smile, that's a really bad thing. And it's because I've been completely on autopilot. I'm just not paying attention at all. I've not listened intently to the words that she was saying or gathered the meaning of the story that she's trying to tell me. I'm elsewhere, I'm distracted, my mind is on other things completely. And it can be exactly the same with us and God, can't it? He's probably speaking to us all the time. And are we paying attention? No, we're probably not. I'm probably on my phone or I'm in my own little bubble thinking about really little things around me. Or even worse, I'm thinking about really big things, big decisions, and I'm just not inviting him in and listening to what he's got to say to me about them. I'm not tuning into him, I'm closing off my ears, and actually, I should be turning to God. I should be intentionally trying to listen to what he's got to say to me. It says in the Bible that Jesus is a shepherd, a good shepherd, and what do shepherds do? They look after sheep. Now, one of my dad's old primary school friends, his name is Chris, and he's a sheep farmer in Shell. And when we were really little, he used to let us go and bottle feed the baby sheep. It was so cute, it was so lovely. But he told me that sheep have really good hearing. And I think God made them that way in order that they could listen out for danger, listen out for predators. And he also told me that that sheep have a very herd mentality. They follow the flock, so when one goes, they all go. And over time, sheep come to associate the sound of the shepherd's voice, or sometimes the shepherd's whistle, with certain benefits. So sheep are not stupid, they're quite clever. They know who feeds them, they know who protects them, they know who cares for their needs, and sheep can distinguish their keeper's voice from other people. And what about newborn lambs? So they learn to recognise the sheep's voice from birth. They are conditioned to follow the flock. So God created sheep with an instinct to stick together as a means of survival. And that instinct allows baby lambs to flourish. And even sheep that are introduced to a new flock will follow all the sheep until they too can recognise the shepherd's voice. So even if you can't recognise the shepherd's voice for yourself, be around people who can, and you will go along with the flock. And that's a beautiful image of church, isn't it, and of discipleship. And the Bible says that we are, as believers, are God's sheep, as Jesus' sheep. His job is to care for us and to look after us and find us a safe place and provide what we need. And in John chapter 3 it says this: He calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. When he has brought out all his own, he goes on ahead of them, and his sheep follow him because they know his voice. But they will never follow a stranger. In fact, they will run away from him because they do not recognise a stranger's voice. We need to know what Jesus' voice sounds like. We need to be following his voice and ignoring the other voices. The voices that are putting us down, who tell lies, who do not speak truth, who lead to harm and destruction. And we certainly need to run away from the enemy's voice and give it no time in our lives and in our minds. Because that voice wants us to become separate from the flock. It wants us to become separate from the shepherd and make us isolated and alone. So whether we are newborn lambs learning Jesus' voice, or learning from the others in church and following their lead, or if we're an experienced flock member and helping others to follow Jesus, we need to be sure that we're listening in. Because when we listen to Jesus, we hear that he died for us. We hear that we are loved and that we are cared for, that we are not alone, that he will always be there, and that he will protect us and pray for us on our behalf. Because thankfully, if we do get separated from God, he comes after the one, doesn't he? He leaves the 99 and will come back for the one that has gone astray and help them back into the group. And he will guide us back if only we will listen. And like Heather prayed about salvation earlier, if you've never heard that before, that Jesus does love you and care for you and saves you, then come talk to one of us because you want to be part of the flock, because it's so amazing. So how does God speak to us? Well, there are so many ways that God speaks to us. You can hear God audibly. God spoke to people audibly in the Bible, the prophets of the Old Testament and Jesus, and there is nothing to suggest that he will no longer do this. He can also speak to us through our hearts. Sometimes people have an inner voice in their hearts and their mind that they know is the Lord prompting them. Or we can be spoken by God through his word. So the Bible is a really key way to know God, to know his will and to know his ways. And it's the way he has spoken to generation after generation, to the entire world through the God-breathed scriptures that is so important to us today still. And we can also hear from God through other people in words of knowledge and in prophecy. Other people can hear what God is saying to us and about us through these spiritual gifts. And he can also speak to us through the Holy Spirit. We have the Holy Spirit inside us when we become a believer, who is part of God that has come to comfort us and strengthen us and lead us and show us his way and tell us his word. So why should we listen to God? Well, because his words have authority. There is an amazing example of God's power through his word. And if speaking the world into being isn't enough, we can see another example of how God's power and God's word has authority. There's a story in Matthew chapter 8 verse 5, if you want to read along, and it's all about one of the miracles, and it's called the faith of the centurion. And it says, when Jesus had entered Capernaum, a centurion came to him asking for help. Lord, he said, my servant lies at home paralyzed, suffering terribly. Jesus said to him, shall I come and heal him? The centurion replied, Lord, I do not deserve to have you come under my roof, but just say the word, my servant will be healed. For I myself am a man under authority, with soldiers under me. I tell this one go, and he goes, and that one come, and he comes. And I say to my servant, do this, and he does it. When Jesus heard this, he was amazed and said to those following him, truly I tell you, I have not found anyone in Israel with such great faith. Then Jesus said to the centurion, go, let it be done just as you believed it would. and his servant was healed at that moment. The centurion protests that there is no need for Jesus to go to his home. It'll be too convenient for him. He'll have to go out of his way, he'll have to travel, it'll have to take loads of time. And I think sometimes that's exactly how we feel, don't we? We feel like we're bothering Jesus, we feel like we're inconveniencing Jesus. But the centurion also knew that as a Roman soldier, and because he wasn't a Jew, and because he realised that Jesus was Jewish, that if Jesus went to his house, he'd have to go through a cleansing ritual before he could continue and serve others. Because in those days, the Jews and the Gentiles were really separate, and they had different ceremonies and different beliefs, and they were seen as very distinct people. So he also didn't want Jesus to have to go the extra mile in order to perform the miracle. But there was also another reason, a more important reason, and that the reason he didn't feel Jesus had to come to his house, because he didn't need to. He knew that the authority of Jesus alone and the authority of his words, coupled with his faith, would be enough for that person to be healed. He didn't need the presence of Jesus, he didn't even need the laying on of hands, he didn't even need like a little hanky as a representative to be taken to the person. He knew that as soon as Jesus spoke those words and the authority behind those words, that his servant would be healed. So Jesus said, didn't he, let it be done, and it was done. And it was the soldier's faith along with Jesus' authority of sickness that the servant was healed. Because as a soldier leading 100 men in his battalion or in his legion, that when he said go, the soldiers beneath him, his privates, would simply not question him and do what he said. And people with an army or military background yourselves might know that when your superior tells you to go, you have to go. And if he says tells you to jump, you have to say how high. And if he says do 100 press-ups, you say, well, I'll do 100 plus 100 more. So when Jesus says to us to go, we need to go. When he says we need to stay, we need to stay. And when he says press in, we need to press in. And when he says battle through, we need to battle through. Where in our lives do we need to know that Jesus has authority over that situation? Is it when we're in hospital? Is it when we've seen bad accidents happen? Is it when we've seen people, fall back and relapse? Those are the kind of things we've prayed about today, and we need to know that Jesus has the authority to deal with those situations and to transform those situations. Where do we need the faith to believe, and where do we need Jesus to speak to us? I've only recently found out the meaning of a certain word, which is really bad because I say it all the time, and it's the word amen. I've been a Christian for coming up to 12 years now, and I never knew what amen meant. I just thought it was a nice little word, probably just meant at the end like a little yours sincerely or thanks God, or you know what I mean? Like I just say it out of habit, I just say it because everyone says it. But actually it's a Hebrew word and it means let it be. So when we say a prayer at the end, when we say amen at the end of a prayer, we're saying, yes God, let it be. May what I have prayed come to pass. So we need to be praying prayers with the faith of that, with that yes, let it be, thank you God, let your will be done, amen. With the faith that it will be fulfilled and that it will come to fruition. Because Jesus spoke with authority over so many things. The wind and the waves, Jesus calmed the storm by rebuking the element that said, quiet, be still. A simple commandment, a declaration from Jesus, and it was so. And Jesus can do the same to us. He can speak into our situations, the storms of life that we all go through. He can command them to be still. And it says in Matthew 8:16 that he drove out spirits with a word. When we're coming up against evil forces or demons, we can just cast them out with a word because we've got that same authority that Jesus gave us. And life, Jesus raised people from the dead. And one of the examples was Lazarus, and it says that then with a loud voice, Jesus shouted with authority, Lazarus, come out of the tomb. And he came out of the tomb. Who feels that I need to do that this morning? Sometimes we feel like we're just existing, that we're just surviving, not thriving. But Jesus says, come out, get up, take a stand, dance around, live. Jesus raised people from the dead in the natural and in the physical, but sometimes we need to be raised up in the spiritual. When he says get up, we need to be getting up. When he says dust yourself off, we dust ourselves off and go out and walk into our new life, our new destiny and our new calling. Sue Evans was up a few weeks ago, and something she said hit me like an arrow. It felt like God was speaking to me through Sue. And she just said in a pass away comment, she said, if you don't like your life, get a new one. And I was just like, whoa. And it was challenging, but it was God waking me up. Because every day we speak over ourselves and speak over our lives, and we can speak very negatively and say horrible things to ourselves, like, oh, you're an idiot, oh, you're so stupid, how could you think that, why did you do that, oh, why, what are you playing at? And we can just generally mope around, don't we? We can say, oh gosh, that meeting was terrible, or oh, my car's just a wreck, or keep, or oh, my colleagues are so lazy, how can we get away with doing nothing, or oh, my house is so run down, or there's so many things that we moan and gripe about, isn't there? And what if God turned around and said, okay then, your house isn't done, your colleagues are lazy, because what we say is how it will be, and we speak how we feel. What we say over ourselves and those around us and over other people and places is what will happen, is what will come to pass. There is power in the words and what we speak. It says in James 3, doesn't it, that our tongue can be like a wildfire, it can be like a blessing, and it can give out curses. And it shouldn't be like that. We should be speaking blessings, and we should not be speaking curses over ourselves or over people. I mentioned earlier that we're created in God's likeness and in His image. Therefore, if God speaks in God's words of authority, then we can speak and we have authority in certain areas. And if we speak negatively over a situation or over ourselves, then guess what? There will be negativity in that situation and in ourselves. The way we speak about ourselves needs to match up with the way God speaks about us. God does not speak hurt or harm. He speaks love and mercy and hope and freedom. So God does not want us to be a bunch of moaners or complainers or grouchy people who lie to each other or say unkind things to each other. It says in the Bible instead, keep your tongue from evil and keep your lips from deceitful speech. And it says, whoever gossips separates friends. We don't want to be evil, we don't want to be gossipy, we don't want to be liars. And in Numbers 11 it talks about complaints, about hardship. Now the Israelites were being moaning minis about the fact that they were living in really bad conditions. And they were doing it really openly in front of the Lord. And when the Lord heard this, his anger burned, and the fire from the Lord blazed among them and consumed the outskirts of the camp. Then the people cried out to Moses, and he prayed to the Lord, and the fire died down. So God is displeased, isn't he, when we moan and grumble and complain. So we need to be mindful of how we speak to God. And God is understanding, and he knows our pains and disappointments and hurts. But when we're moaning about the really little things, it might lead up to really struggle actually when really difficult situations come on, and we can see what we actually might need to complain about. So we need to practice gratitude. We need to do everything without grumbling and arguing, so that we can be blameless and pure. Children of God who are faultless in a crooked and perverted generation, among whom you shine like stars in the world, by holding firm to the word of life. That's in 2 Philippians 14:16. And it's so true, isn't it? We are set apart. And one way we can set ourselves apart is by the words that we speak, is by our attitude to life, how we speak about ourselves and how we speak about others. And we can do it through knowing the Word of God, by knowing what the Bible says about us. Because how can we speak truth without knowing the truth? It says in Luke chapter 6 that the mouth speaks what the heart is full of, and for the mouth speaks from the overflow of the heart. So our words are based on what's in our hearts and in our minds. In order to speak words of comfort and love and light and freedom, our hearts need to be full of the same things. If we think horrible things about people, we're going to say horrible things about people. And so we need to ask the Lord to help purify and cleanse our hearts. David knew about the importance of this and asked the Lord to create in him a clean heart and a right spirit within him. You might be thinking, oh gosh, that's a really difficult task. It might even feel a bit impossible. But the Bible makes it clear we do not need to do it in our own strength. God has given us the gift of the Holy Spirit. And like we mentioned today, it's the day of Pentecost. And in Acts chapter 2, it talks about how the Holy Spirit came upon the early church, and the fire of the Lord came down and powerfully gave the people gathered there the gifts of the Holy Spirit, speaking in tongues, speaking words of knowledge and in prophecy, and giving them dreams and visions. And we are the church, we are filled with the same Holy Spirit too. We've been given gifts of speaking to God in tongues, of giving us a language to pray to Him in. We've been given dreams and visions. We just need to walk in the dirt. We need to know that it's possible and believe in it and believe that it can happen. And we need to practice gratitude in our hearts. We need to replace the hurt with grace and forgiveness, because we've been greatly forgiven first. Because there's a time when we're going to be held to account. In a really challenging passage in Matthew, it does say, I tell you that on the day of judgment, people will have to account for every careless word they speak. For by your words you will be acquitted, and by your words you will be condemned. So we're all responsible for what we say. You cannot blame someone else for what comes out of your mouth on your lips. So we need to be really aware that the words that we say can heal us, but they can also harm us. And we need to be aware of those consequences. So if we want to be acquitted and want to have good fruit and speak good fruit, we need to be part of a good tree, don't we? We need to be growing in the Lord and growing in the things of God. And we do that by remaining close to Him, by abiding in Him, knowing Him and spending time in His presence. Because the content we consume is the content we create.
What are we filling our lives with? What are we spending our time on? Because that is what our hearts will be full of. You know, if we consume porn, guess what? It'll be difficult to speak words of purity. If we're constantly reading hate on the internet, it's going to be really difficult to love others. If we're constantly listening to people swear and to shout and to give abuse, then it'll be really hard to speak kind and loving words to those around us. And if we're reading and absorbing those trashy magazines that gossip and smear at celebrities, then it'd be really difficult not to speak about our friends and loved ones behind their backs as well. And if we open the door and give a foothold to things that are not good for us, it's very hard to live lives of freedom and light. So we need to ensure, don't we, that we're consuming the right things, the things of God, the fruits of His Spirit, so that we are creating good things. You know, love, joy, peace, kindness, gentleness and self-control. Well, how do we do that? Well, we do it through the Holy Spirit living within us, through knowing God's Word and spending time with Jesus, abiding in Him. So in order to speak good things, we need to have a heart and mind ready with godly words. Because words, as we have seen, are really powerful. Words of freedom, words of salvation, words of reconciliation, words of healing, words of prophecy. Because God has given us a voice, a strong voice, a powerful voice, a voice over ourselves, a voice over our family, our loved ones, our church, our community, our nation and our world. Can you imagine if we spoke the words of God over people, the effect that it would have? If we told people all the amazing things about Jesus and about God to everyone, then what a powerful thing that would be. So let's not squander or waste our voice. Let's not stay silent. Let's use our God-given voice to speak light and light over others. Let's do as Robson said, and be that fire that burns, and other people can watch and be attracted to that heat and that light. So let's pray. Lord, thank you that you speak. Thank you, Lord, that the words you speak over us are the kindest words we will ever hear. Thank you, Lord, that when you speak, things happen. Incredible, awe-inspiring things happen. Thank you, God, that you speak to us in so many different ways. You know, in our hearts, through your word, through your Holy Spirit. And God, we pray and we turn off the distractions and listen to you. We are your sheep and we listen to your voice now. God, you hear us. Please help us to hear you. Help us to turn our ears towards you as we cut out the white noise and the distractions of the world around us. Let us focus in on you. God, prepare our hearts, cleanse us and purify us. Let us have hearts of love that our mouths will just overflow with what you've placed inside us. Let it just pour out of us like oil. Lord, our praises and our thanksgiving, our worship, our cries of desperation, our kind and loving words to one another, let us be your witnesses. Let us share your truth and your words of light and life and hope and freedom, strength and joy. Because we are your representatives on this earth, let us carry that mantle with joy. Pray, Lord, that you strengthen us. God, we are so sorry when we have not spoken the right words. When we swear, when we take your name in vain, when we gossip or when we lie, when we hurt or lash out, when we abuse or belittle. God, we are so sorry. And we turn to you, Lord, and we seek your face and your likeness that will reflect you and walk in your love and your mercy. That we have a fresh start. That we don't have to do this in our own strength, but with you, Holy Spirit, living inside us. So God, speak to us now. You know the words each of us need to hear this morning. You have something to say to each and every single one of us. So God, help us know of your authority and to have increased faith in your words over us. And let us realise the authority we carry over ourselves and our own situations and the situations around us. So thank you, Lord. In Jesus' name, let it be.